Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another Promax Africa 2020 session on this beautiful Thursday afternoon. No housekeeping, no rants from me. We're going to get straight into it. I would like to welcome our guests for today. We're going to get into how to get the best performance from your voiceover artists with the owner and founder of Trailer Voice Artists in the USA, Brent Allen Hagel. And joining Brent today, we also have local voiceover artist, seasoned actor, TV presenter, MC, DJ, the list goes on. I think everybody knows him, Tumisho, Masha, and the beautiful Kudi Maradzika, sorry, we were working on that. And then I lost it all. But welcome to the three of you. I'm going to hand over to Brent now, who will take you through what's going to happen today, tell you a bit about himself and his company, and yeah, enjoy this very hands-on session.
Thank you. So yeah, thank you everyone for being here. Thank you to Tumisho and Kudi for being here. Today, I just want to have a lot of fun, right? We're just going to work with voice actors. We're going to read scripts, and we're going to talk about how to direct voice actors, maybe some keywords, some trigger words, a little brighter, a little softer, and we're really going to get into the nitty-gritty of reading copy. That's kind of when all the magic happens in a session, is kind of when we're the creative director and the editor and the producer, whoever in the session with the actor, and we're going to kind of going back and forth with ideas. You know, it's always kind of nerve-wracking in the beginning of a session. Maybe it's a new client, maybe it's a new voice actor. Did I hire the right person? And, you know, from an artist point of view, am I giving the performance, right? So we're all kind of nervous. So talk about kind of creating that initial creative space in the very beginning. But I want to start with a little bit of showing the show reel of Trailer Voice Artists. I just kind of want you to see what we do here at TVA. So I'm going to share my screen real quick, and we're just going to watch a quick 60 seconds of some of the work that the team has done. So this is the website here, and we'll play the video real quick.
Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. Abierto ya en Walt Disney World.
Hang on one second. I just want to make sure that audio is coming through for you guys. Let me try that one more time. Okay, good. Yep, okay, my bad. Let's keep going.
Resort.
Poverty has been eradicated. Give thanks.
Live from the Dolby Theater at Hollywood and Highland, it's the 91st Academy Award.
Gears 5, only on Xbox. Available September 6th with Xbox Game Pass Ultimate.
All this month. Stop and watch some movies on TBS.
There's a mole in the CIA. We need you in Berlin. No one can know why you're there. Not the chief, not his deputies, not a soul.
Summer in the city of Arendelle. It couldn't be warmer. It couldn't be sunnier. But that's about to change. Forever.
Walkers, rated R.
As the International Champions Cup returns to FedEx Field.
Este sábado, Mark Anthony, Jennifer Lopez y Alex Rodríguez presentan One Voice, Somos Live.
You're watching Nick. Subscription not included. Says Myers does not endorse this product.
Bobby Baby streaming on Netflix November 5th.
Great. So that's kind of the campaigns that we've worked on in the past. As you can see, it's a variety of English voices, Spanish voices, and the idea is to continue to find the best talent around the globe and to continue to promote artists and work with artists. I just love it so much. It's my passion. I want to really call it a job. You know, it's just so much fun to work with VOs. So I want to kind of just get into it, because I think a lot of the conversation that's going to spark is just going to happen by doing the work, right? When voice actors ask me, how do I get into the biz? How do I work? And I say, just get in workout groups and just start reading the scripts, just start working. So Tumisho, let's start with you. You pulled a piece of Fox copy. So when you get a script, kind of tell me about your process when you get a script in front of you. So it comes in via email, or you actually walk into a booth and they hand it to you. And what are your first thoughts? Tell me about your process.
Well, first of all, how you doing, Brent? You're looking very dapper. I just wanted to let you know. I love the jacket, man.
This thing here. I'm gonna say that.
And that little pocket chief too, man. That pocket square is popping. So, usually I walk into the booth and, well, before I walk into the booth, obviously I walk into the studio, and as I walk into the studio, the producer will hand me the script before I go into the booth. And that's usually the first time I see the script. Once I go into the booth, I've probably read it once, at least. And I like to go with it. I like to go with the flow of the script. I like to go with what my creative juices will create once I get into the booth and I look at the script. Because for me, the booth is a magical place. It's kind of where I go and I can get into my own head, so to speak. So I don't really like to get a script a day before. I don't like to have it emailed to me, because I find that then I overthink it in an environment that's not my voice environment, my voice work environment.
Yeah. I love that. So what if do you ever ask for like, hey, do you guys have a music cue? Do you guys have any visuals on this yet? Is there any evidence I can see for the spot? Or do you like to just go in and just kind of give a performance first? Or do you like to collect a little evidence ahead of time?
Sometimes I actually do like to collect a little bit of evidence. I like how you phrase that. I want to use that going forward. But every now and again, if you hear the music before, I always find that the music is great because it gives you the rhythm and many times the tone of the voice that you're going to do in there, especially of the read. If you look at the visuals, it also gets you in the right mindset. But if you don't have those, then I don't mind going at it cold, because then I kind of create what I have in my mind. But I find that if there are other elements, it might not match. So once the elements come in, then I want to take another hit at it. But I find that if there are any elements, if there's any ingredients that I need to see, I'd prefer to see and hear first.
Yeah, agreed. And the producer will say, hey, we want to go, they'll give you a little bit of a brief. We want to go big energy on this, or we want to kind of play it nice and cool. So with this script in front of you, how do you think you're going to play this guy? Or you want to just hit it and see what happens?
So which one are we doing first? Are we going with the Sundance first, or are we going with the Fox first?
Let's lead it off with Fox, the one up top.
Okay, there. Fox. So for me, I haven't seen any of the elements, but I can read that there's things happening as effects of explosions, and I understand that we're talking about the television show. So there'll probably be visuals of other TV shows in the background. There'll probably be nice, big, epic music. And for me, what I'm selling is the channel. My thing is to try and make it relatable, entertaining, fun, and hopefully not too cheesy. So without explaining too much, let me rather just do it, Should I just hit one?
Please.
Fox is blowing up entertainment on Optimum TV. Catch all the hottest TV shows on Fox, all on your schedule, anytime, anywhere. Tune to Channel 500 to check them out on demand. Plus, with the Fox Now app, watch them anywhere there's internet, like any of our hundreds of thousands of Optimum Wi-Fi spots. Catch our schedule on your schedule on Optimum TV.
I love it. Really, really nice read. So let's go a few ways on this, because I want to kind of explore your personality a little bit more.
Yeah.
Let's do one where it's super casual, and let's do like a soft sell, right? It's just you.
All right.
Just kind of just reading it in your everyday resting voice. And then we'll go back and we'll do one that's kind of more movie trailer, big, hard hitting. So let's kind of explore all the vocal range that you have. So right now, just tell me about it. Just super off the cuff, kind of a whatever read.
Fox is blowing up entertainment on Optimum TV. Catch all the hottest TV shows on Fox, all on your schedule, anytime, anywhere. Tune to Channel 500 to check them out on demand. Plus, with the Fox Now app, watch them anywhere there's internet, like any of our hundreds of thousands of Optimum Wi-Fi spots. Catch our schedule on your schedule on Optimum TV.
Really nice. Now let's give you a kind of a smile, right? But I want it to be not like a smile, but I want it to be like a little bit of a sinister smile, right? A little bit like you're in on it.
Okay.
And then let's hit it more like a movie trailer. I just want you to kind of punch that script a little bit more.
Okay, with the smile and the movie trailer.
Yeah, so because I wanted to still have this little sense of
okay.
like warmth, cheesy, because I want it to be like a fun action movie.
All right. Fox is blowing up entertainment on Optimum TV. Catch all the hottest TV shows on Fox, all on your schedule, anytime, anywhere. Tune to Channel 500 to check them out on demand. Plus, with the Fox Now app, watch them anywhere there's entertainment. So watch them anywhere there's internet, like any of our hundreds of thousands of Optimum Wi-Fi hotspots. Catch our schedule on your schedule on Optimum TV.
I love it. Yeah, right on the money. Okay, last take. I don't want to work your voice too hard on this one, but let's try to hit it as fast as possible.
Okay.
I know it's a 30 and we're probably right on time, but I just want to hear you kind of give that sense of urgency in the script to kind of drive the harder sell. And if we read it just a touch quicker, maybe 10% quicker, we can kind of get that effect of that you need to go, get this product now.
Cool. I'm going to also just, maybe if I can just hit it a little bit younger, I'm going to just take down the demographic a little bit in terms of age and see how that sounds with a little bit of speed on it.
I love it. See, the creative voice artist. That's beautiful.
Fox is blowing up entertainment on Optimum TV. Catch all the hottest TV shows on Fox, all on your schedule, anytime, anywhere. Tune to Channel 500 to check them out on demand. Plus, with the Fox Now app, watch them anywhere there's internet, like any of our hundreds of thousands of Optimum Wi-Fi hotspots. Catch our schedule on your schedule on Optimum TV.
And that's a print. Love it. Fantastic work. Yeah. And of course, hold on, and that first read, of course, is kind of just so you get it out, you throw it against the wall and see what sticks, and then as you're familiar with the words, second, third, fourth take, every one of those are usable. Sorry, Samira, go ahead.
No, I noticed your hand gestures and kind of reading along, with the script with Tumisho as he was going. Is that something that helps you as a director? Is that just a habit that you fall into?
I always do it when I direct and when I read. The words just have like certain movements to me as I see them, kind of like a conductor would do, or a musician, a drummer would tap, or whatever they would do. And over time, it just it's a rhythm thing, I guess, or how long certain words need to be, or. Also, I'm thinking of, because I need to punch the name of the brand, I need to punch any sort of products that may be in there. So those are always going to have a little bit of a harder tap or a harder hit. So I just wanted to make sure those are all in there. And it really just helps me connect with it and feel it. And it's a personal thing. I find most VOs kind of move around a little bit, or if it's in their face or in their hands, or it's just kind of like a tick, I guess, you develop. Yeah. Cool. Kudi. You ready?
Yes. Hello. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much for being here.
Awesome.
So you picked 3 scripts here. And there are 2 of them are high energy and one is kind of nice and fun. Do you feel like maybe we shouldn't start with the singing, or do you want to get right into it?
Well, I think maybe let's just get into the singing, because it's something quite interesting, right? So let's see what happens.
Okay, so same thing. Tell me about your process.
Okay, so usually I think a lot of my background is obviously working behind the scenes. So as a producer, a lot of what we do is already write the script. So there's knowledge of this. So walking in with that knowledge as a voiceover artist is always just finding my beats, which is usually what any performer does when you look at a script the first time, is find those emotional beats, understand the tone of what's trying to be communicated, and then try and make sure that that is what you are conveying with your voice and whatever performance style that you choose to use for that read.
Okay, excellent. So when you're looking at this, what are your first thoughts?
Wow. So this was, my first thoughts is a lot of what I do is very high energy in any case. So I guess that's what I would just lean in with, is a lot of more performative stuff, more playful stuff. Just a lot of experimenting I see is the delivery of this kind of scripts, just to get it right. And then once we get it right, more or less you can convey what you need to. But this is a lot of play is involved in this, which is what I quite liked about it.
Yeah, and and if you have a strong singing background, a stand-up comedy background, an animation background, these Cartoon Network is what we're going to do. These Nickelodeon, these youth spots are just a lot of fun, and like you said, just room to play. As an adult, we get to use our imaginations and go back and just experiment and have fun. So let's hit it. What we can do two things. How about we just read the script out loud? So we can the audience can understand what we're about to do, and then we'll go into a performance.
Okay, fantastic. I'm going to do a clean read first.
Okay.
Robin enjoys the simple things like smooth jazz, but when the team discovers heavy metal, can Robin prove that he's got the metal to overcome the Lord of Heavy Metal? Friday night is so metal. New Teen Titans Go, Friday at 6. All your favorite shows are new on your Cartoon Network.
Okay, so this script is going to be a mix of her using her beautiful voice mixed with heavy metal kind of singing. So it's these spots are very challenging for a VO artist to be able to switch back and forth between your two tones in real time. So let's give it a shot.
I'm gonna give it a shot. Let's go. Robin enjoys the simple things like smooth jazz. But when the team discovers heavy metal, can Robin prove he's got the metal to overcome the load of heavy metal? Friday night is so metal. New Teen Titans Go, Friday at 6. All your favorite shows are new on your Cartoon Network.
That was a lot of fun. Yeah.
So great.
I want to see if we can kind of hit some high notes in here. Just for fun, like on this line, to overcome the Lord of Heavy Metal, kind of something like an 80s Guns N' Roses singer would do when they, they're on stage and they're going to hit these high notes and wow the crowd. And then also on this line, new. I'm obviously not a singer, but if we can do like a little bit of a build on those 4 news and I get get a little higher each time, I think it'd be give it some more pizzazz.
Let's see. Okay, cool. Okay. Robin enjoys the simple things in life, like smooth jazz. But when the team discovers heavy metal, can Robin prove he's got the metal to overcome the Lord of Heavy Metal? Friday night is so metal. New Teen Titans Go, Friday at 6. All your favorite shows are new on your Cartoon Network.
Very, very nice. Let's try one more. And on that opening line, let's do like a late night radio DJ, Robin, and these kind of be very, very slow and calm and like and sultry. Like it's people are calling in to dedicate songs to their loved ones. You know what I'm saying? So Robin enjoys the simple things, very low and kind of in like a deeper, soothing voice, and then all of a sudden, because the images on the promo will change. All of a sudden, it's going to be flashing action shots and things like that. And then, but when the team that sort of thing, it'll be this big change in the emotion.
Okay.
And let's do this for the last read. So I want you to go all out vocally and emotionally. I just want you to.
Just letting you know that I did remember your note on going high, but I just did not have it in me.
I saw, but I just want, let's try to go to a place that is the maximum of, like, wherever your comfort zone is, let's go right over it.
Fantastic. Awesome. Okay. Robin enjoys the simple things like smooth jazz. But when the team discovers heavy metal, can Robin prove he's got the metal to overcome the lords of heavy metal? Friday night is so metal. New Teen Titans Go, Friday at 6. All your favorite shows are new on your Cartoon Network.
You did it! That was awesome!
Awesome. Yay.
That's how it feels to get a great read out of a voice artist. It's a celebration. Yeah, thank you so much for going there and and just going with it and just letting loose like that. That was it. And then, once that performance comes in the microphone and it's just very freeing for the producer and for you. Any thoughts? Did I push you too far, or were you going to go?
That was fun. That was perfect. That was cool.
Okay. I'm going to do a read now. I like to always read along. And this is for a network here called Bravo. It's for a real estate show called $1 Million Listing Los Angeles. So the Bravo network, we haven't really talked about branding, but it's Promax, so it's all about branding and marketing and selling our TV shows and getting viewers to the network. So if you have some time as a voiceover artist, always go to the company website, go on YouTube. Like I was talking with Tumisho about, find some evidence about the brand of the network. Mm-hmm. We all kind of know Disney and Nickelodeon because they're so famous, but the cable channels, you may need to kind of do a little bit of research if you're not, as an artist, familiar with their branding. So Bravo, of course, is kind of a luxury brand, a gossip brand, celebrities and real estate and things like that. Right. So we'll give it a go. Wednesday by Bravo. The original bad boys of real estate are open for business. The new season of $1 Million Listing Los Angeles starts Wednesday at 9/8 Central, only by Bravo. And so when I'm reading this, I really want to put in that sass and that fun and that warmth.
Yeah.
And I want it to be kind of gossipy, like I'm telling you something that like I'm not allowed to tell you, but I am. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of the branding for the network that I'm feeling.
I really enjoyed that.
Yeah,
I found it to be like you said, quite sassy and mysterious, but a lot of fun. I really wanted to watch that show because I wasn't just going to see houses. I was going to see something else that I wasn't sure what it was, but it was going to be exciting. So that was really cool.
Yeah, and there's a tone that you have in your voice that's just so, I just don't know how to describe it. The timbre of your voice is just spot on for something like that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Is there any way you guys want to hear it that I didn't read it? Maybe a different. Go ahead.
Yeah, can we try maybe a little bit, just turning up the energy a little bit more, so kind of go very over the top with it?
Sure. Wednesday by Bravo. The original bad boys of real estate are open for business. The new season of $1 Million Listing Los Angeles starts Wednesday at 9/8 Central, only by Bravo. Only by Bravo. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. I mean, that was really
great.
All right.
I would have taken either of those. Like you said, Samira, there's a place for that almost OTT, which kind of makes it a little bit more exciting and retail. But the first read as well had a bit of a sophistication with it because it was a little bit, a little less or a little more underplayed. So I think both of those would work. It's always, maybe that's the hard thing about being on the other side, picking which one to go with.
No, definitely.
Definitely.
And I think,
go ahead.
No, I mean, the audience has a big part to play in that direction. So, we know a little bit about the brand, but I think as directors to feed into your artists about who you're speaking to, who's the show catered for, so that, and either of those reads can kind of, talk to different people. So I think that information is important.
I'll definitely pick the second read for like both TV and radio because it had a little bit more dynamism to it, which is quite nice to use both platforms, and also like potentially like online usage as well. That was really nice.
Excellent. Yeah, I always like doing the big energy reads just because it's a lot of fun as the artist to be able to let all my emotions out, right, and to be able to act. Because a lot of these dramatic promos are kind of very flat. You're just a very flat read, and then kids stuff and then more animated stuff is just like we did Kudi, to just be loud and outgoing, which maybe you probably aren't in your normal life, mostly reserved and trying to it was great. Tumisho, let's move on to another piece of copy.
Okay. What would you like to hear? I've got something that's like a Disney Bears script. I'll write something here on it.
Let's hear you go. I want to hear you do the CNN script.
Okay. Let me go to that.
Because it's
While you're looking through that, sorry, I just want to remind everyone that if you have any questions as we go, please pop them into the chat or the Q&A and we'll ask them as we go. Sorry, I just wanted to say that while Tumisho was looking for his script.
No problem.
This is great. This is a very, very emotional script, and I want to hear you kind of go to that place with me.
Let's see what we got.
The travel can lift you up. Copy.
Yeah. I'm with you guys. Travel can lift you up, and it can break your heart, but the journey leaves its mark. You take something with you, and you leave something good behind. Anthony Bourdain, Parts Unknown. Episode starts Sunday, September 23rd at 9, only on CNN.
It was a beautiful read, and I really liked. I started to usually when I hear an artist read the first time on a script, there'll be like maybe a sentence in there, or a phrase, or something that pops out at me that like I want that tone for the whole piece. And when you were starting to wind down, when you said the word, the final episode starts Sunday, it's this tone of letting go because he passed away. So I love that. Can you kind of take your voice pressure about in half? I want you to kind of just lean in the microphone, and then, not a whisper. But it's a whisper. A whisper would be, like your voice would go out. I want it to be the very, very, very bottom of your vocal register, where the words are just kind of falling out. You're not really putting much into it. You maybe relax your shoulders and relax your body, and just kind of let the words fall into the mic.
Here we go. Travel can lift you up, and it can break your heart, but the journey leaves its mark. You take something with you, and you leave something good behind. Anthony Bourdain, Parts Unknown. The final episodes start Sunday, September 23rd at 9 on CNN.
Beautiful, man. That was a beautiful read.
Yeah, it's quite an emotional one, because actually it reminded me of everything that Anthony Bourdain had done, and out of nowhere we'd seen this guy who seemed to live such an amazing life, and he decided to check out, and this kind of says it all,
Yeah, and like I started when you were reading, I was listening to your voice. I did start to get emotional and kind of swell up. Just because you connected with me, right? And that's kind of the goal of the voice artist, is to connect with the audience. And you did it right there. I don't even think we should try anything else, because I don't think, I think that was the read.
Okay. I was going to try one more. Can I try one more? Because I just feel like just go in there, just trying it anyway. And I really enjoy this one, So here we go. Travel can lift you up, and it can break your heart, but the journey leaves its mark. You take something with you, and you leave something good behind. Anthony Bourdain, Parts Unknown. The final episodes start Sunday, September 23rd at 9 on CNN.
Yeah. That was a nice splitting the difference between that first read, the softer directed read, and that last read was kind of a nice middle ground between the two. And depending on the music and the cuts, we don't know how emotional it's going to be. So maybe we went a little too far with the emotion, and maybe we let the visuals do that for us. And then you come in with that third take and kind of just set the tone right in the middle. Really nice work.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was great. That last script, I think, for CNN felt more real. It had a little bit more maturity in it, I think. So yeah, I love that take on it. I just want to pose a question from one of our attendees. They want to ask, does one really need training as a voiceover artist, or is it something you can just kind of learn on the go, and as script after script you get better and better? What is your take on that?
Well, the job is really acting. So if you come from theater, or if you come from reading children's books every Sunday at the hospital, or if you're used to reading and expressing yourself organically, like your true own personality, then I think you'll be good at it. Again, but do you know how to work a microphone? Do you know the etiquette of being in a studio? Do you know all the things that's not reading? Because there's a lot to it in the business that's not reading scripts. It's about managing your acting career. So I highly suggest, even if you don't have a lot of money, to at least get in some sort of internet workshop or group workshop and be around other voice actors. But I would say, yeah, I mean, you do need training, but again, if you need some sort of acting training, because it teaches you to have self-confidence, and it teaches you to basically share your soul with the microphone, with the audience.
That's right.
So do you guys have any input on that?
Kudi, you want to go first?
I would say it's exactly what you're saying, Brent. It's a lot of just, if I'm thinking my personal experience, it's a lot of theater training, but something as simple as reading out loud helps as well, but reading out loud with the intention of reading to an audience. Because there is a young lady who approached me and she's like, I don't know how to get into this. I really want to do this. And she sent me a clip of her reading, but she was reading to herself. And a lot of it is performance. So my suggestion is just literally just record yourself reading out loud and then play it back to see if you're picking up on those beats, if it's coming across as emotive as you want it to. That, and then there's lots of videos on YouTube, hey, believe it or not, whether it is intonation, accent training, just enunciation. There's a lot of free resources on YouTube that you can actually just tap into to learn just the basics of it. And then the third thing I'd suggest is to just get a reel. So for example, what is your favorite product? Write a script around that and record like a fake reel around that, and then send it to people, ask them what they think, ask them if it's convincing. You know, if you get a close group of friends who work within the art field or within the creative field, they'll more or less be able to tell you if this is something that will work to sell a product. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would reiterate everything you guys both said. I'm also from a theater background. That's where I started. And then I went to film as an actor and then also voice kind of at the same time. But what you just said there, Kudi, is like reading is one of the most important things of what we do, right? So learn how to read out loud. And nowadays, things like your cell phones are pretty good in terms of just practicing microphone etiquette, how close to come, how far to go, how loud to speak, and those sort of things. But everything you guys said is spot on. If you can, go and study something, because the one thing about learning theater training is you learn how to breathe. Whether you learn how to actually get a voice coach for singing or voice coaching while you're doing theater for, acting. This is about breathing as well. It's about where do you put in your breaths? Where do you pause? How long can you hold before you have to breathe? That sort of thing.
Yeah. It's all phenomenal advice. And don't let money hold you back. It just find whatever resources you have and use those. Because if you have the passion and the drive, then you'll figure out how to take small steps. This is not an overnight thing. This is, I want to do voiceover, so I'm going to do it the rest of my life. It's not like I have 6 months to get rich or I'm going to quit. It's if you want to be an actor, you're an actor for life. So take small steps. You're going to get your first microphone, and everything is going to be your first demo, your first class, and just keep going with it. And the next thing you know, 10 years will go by and you'll be phenomenal.
Yeah. And something I think, oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Tumisho.
I just wanted to say quickly that the one thing that was mentioned earlier was you keep practicing. So I still, when I watch TV or I'm driving in my car and a good ad comes on, or I hear someone's voice that really impresses me, I just copy it. I just try to do it again, and sometimes that's how I grow, by just literally listening to other people and working it out in my own mouth, how that would feel.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, when we speak about resources and money and trying to get the right training, from my experience, the voice artist community in South Africa is really generous and giving and it's small. So another thing I've seen happen with new artists coming in is experienced veterans taking them under their wing and kind of giving them, mentorship and training as well. Which I've seen work phenomenally well. If you don't kind of have the time, the resources to go and put yourself through, theater school or anything like that, just find someone who knows what they're doing. and gain mentorship from them?
Yeah, I have a rule of finding 5 heroes. So I tell people that are interested, so find 5 voices that are currently working in the business that you just love their delivery, you love their sound, or you love, how they carry their career, and you just pick five mentors. And then if you can, when you make a reel, just have them bounce it off of them. Say, hey, can you listen to this and give me some notes? Okay, let's keep reading.
Let's.
Okay. What do you feel like reading, Kudi?
I think I'm going to do the CBS promotion, but I think something that I want to touch on as I do it is an aspect of like accent delivery, which is very pertinent within the South African market, obviously, because you've got different accents that people would like for products to sell. So I'm just going to try something a little bit different with this and just switch it up. So CBS promotion starting new Thursday. How would you like me to read?
I don't know. Give me an accent. I don't know what accents would be prevalent, but so let's go. We're going a major market pitch. So whatever that would be.
Okay, cool. New Thursday. Life in pieces may just be too hot to handle, and everyone's stepping up their game. New Life in Pieces. CBS Thursday.
Very nice. Hey, on this, let's do a little bit of an emotional shift. So in the beginning, it's going to be slow and sultry. And then on that line, and everyone's stepping up their game, the joke comes out. So your emotion's going to switch from being too hot to handle to, and everyone's stepping up their game. And all of a sudden we're going to rise the energy there, and we're going to carry that out through the rest of the spot.
Fantastic. Okay,
cool. The voice itself, very, very nice. But let's do it again with the new notes.
Okay. New Thursday. Life in pieces may just be too hot to handle, and everyone's stepping up their game. New Life in Pieces. CBS Thursday.
Yeah, I love it. Can we do it on the borderline of a laugh? I don't want you to actually giggle, but I want it to be like you're almost about to, in your vocal subtext. Let's hit it.
Okay.
Say again.
Just on the beat switch of and everyone's stepping up their game from there.
Yeah, and then the name of the show, since it's a comedy, I want it to be New Life in Pieces, like you're about like a big old smile on your face, because I want to sell that it's a comedy just within the brand name.
Okay. All right, cool. Let's try that. New Thursday. Life in pieces may just be too hot to handle, and everyone's stepping up their game. New Life in Pieces. CBS Thursday.
Beautiful read. Very, very nice. Okay, so now a different creative idea, whatever you like, a different accent, anything, because
wow. Okay, cool. I think you guys should suggest something to me and let's see what we can do. I love how I'm putting this out to you guys, and then you might say something and I'll be like, oh, I don't know if I can do that. But yes, you guys suggest something and I'll try and do it in a different delivery. How
about your best California accent?
Wow, okay, Brent, let's try that. Cool. New Thursday. Life in pieces may just be too hot to handle, and everyone's stepping up their game. New Life in Pieces. CBS Thursday.
Beautiful. That was awesome.
I kind of like to see it go the other way. So just super, super sultry and soft, and a little cheeky in it as well.
Okay. All right. Still California. Wow. I'm gonna try. New Thursday. Life in pieces may just be too hot to handle, and everyone's stepping up their game. New Life in Pieces. CBS Thursday.
Very, very nice. Can we push the sassiness of it like to the limit, like 100 on the sass meter?
Okay, let me go 100. Switching gears. New Thursday. Life in pieces may just be too hot to handle, and everyone's stepping up their game. New Life in Pieces. CBS Thursday.
Phenomenal. They were all really, really great. What would be like a very, very South African accent? Like like very like hard for me in California to even understand. Like it's just very thick. Does that exist? I don't know. That'd be like someone with a very southern accent here, like they live from like the southern states here, where it's just very thick. Does that exist?
I think it exists, but it's more probably like just a neutral, very neutral, because if you speak with a very natural accent, I mean, a lot of people in Africa speak another language first and English is a second language. So if you speak with that accent in mind, more or less that's what it would be.
Okay, cool. Do you have one of those?
I was so nervous as you said that. I was like, is he going to ask me to do it? Let's do it.
You want to do it? I don't know. Yeah.
New Thursday, life in pieces may just be too hot to handle, and everyone stepping up their game. New life in pieces, CBS Thursday.
That was beautiful. That's exactly what I was looking for.
Tumisho, you're on mute.
Yeah.
I was saying, I really like that because it's on CBS, and then it's just like so left field, and it's a beautiful African tone as well. It's a beautiful African accent. It's very pleasant to the ears. I loved it.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, thanks guys for putting me through the ring on that one. That was fun.
Well, the idea is to
just
go ahead.
Just on the versatility, a question from Bonko as well is that you mentioned voiceover is similar to acting. In screen acting, you eventually discover what your type is and your natural role. Is it the same in voiceover? Do you have to stay super versatile and do a range of styles and accents?
No, I would say it depends on the person. But for me, I always advise somebody to find what you're absolutely the best at and then double down on that, because you're going to be more competitive in the market. Please continue to work in animation and video games and corporate e-learning. The world of voiceover is massive. There's so much work out there. But if you find something that you really shine at, and then you'll become known for that, and I think you'll generate more work that way. Is my opinion.
I have a very strong agreement with what you're saying there, Brent, because I think that at some point you have to have your own voice, if there's such a thing. We have to sometimes know that, oh, that's Brent, if we're in the market. And I find that a lot of the times the producers we're looking for Tumisho for this voice. And sometimes that's good, as opposed to just, you can do it all, even though that's always good in case you have to get into the studio and do something different. But sometimes it's good to just find your own voice.
Definitely. I completely agree with that. I mean, it makes sense to just cement yourself as like your own identity. But I think the versatility aspect comes into play, and it does make you a lot more employable. But at the same time, I think the reason why I started trying to learn all these different things is because out of curiosity more than anything. But if you can, definitely try other things, learn other things, do them well. But to everyone's point, definitely cement what your voice is and what your signature sound is, because that's what people will look for you for. Like that's what they'll be like. We're looking for a Tumisho voice, and they'll consult them for that. We're looking for a Kudi voice, and they'll consult you for that.
Yeah, and ultimately, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, how often do you encounter directors who actually, haven't put thought into the actual casting, that brings you in going, hey, I want you to do this voice, and it's not really what you do, and that how important is it for the director themselves to do their research, to know what what voice you are going to bring to this, rather than you get into the studio and they ask for something that's really not maybe in your wheelhouse.
That happened to me quite recently, and it's quite frustrating at the end of the day, because everyone's time has just been wasted. You get into the studio and they're completely looking for someone very, very different in terms of what you can deliver and your range. And then it kind of makes the voice feel like they're the ones who are not able to do the job, as opposed to it was just not the right fit. You know what I mean? It's sort of like if someone maybe calls you, Brent, in to do an African voice or an African accent voiceover. It would be like, it's not that you're not a good voice artist. It's just that's not what you do. So I think it's really important for a producer to make sure that they do their research first.
Definitely. I think I've had sessions where I was in a booth once, and I think it was a lack of clear directing. The director wanted me to have a specific sound to the voice, and we went back and forth for a good 30 minutes until I was like, I don't know what you want me to say. And he was like, no, you need to sound like this person. And I was like, oh, got in the booth, did it once, and then it was done. So in as much as it's people not knowing exactly what you are capable of, I also think it's a directing note and not being able to convey exactly what you want from a voice. Because I think sometimes, from my experience, sometimes there's a lot of frustration that comes between the director and the voiceover performer because there isn't a clear understanding between, you know, what they want and what you should deliver as well.
I want to touch on this by talking about the representation. So I think in the agent or manager's job should be that of having that conversation with the director up front, mentally knowing all their voices kind of in their mind, and being able to do that quick casting. So I think, you know, your representation should be also pretty decent at casting mentally, because they do this so often and they see these scripts and they know their artists' personalities and they know what they're capable of. And of course they have all the demos on the website, and so they're kind of used to your sound and your range. And of course, having said that, as an artist, you should always communicate back with your representation if you've grown. You know, if you all of a sudden you can do a new accent or something like that, because now they have them in their memory, and when a client comes to them, they can say, oh, my talent, they just kind of finished a course in this and they're really good at it. Check this out. And again, this comes back to what Tumisho was talking about, frustration and saving time. If you can kind of limit the amount of people that would go into that room, you know, obviously everyone would have a better chance at getting the job. And it'd also be much quicker, because, you know, kind of sending casting out to everybody when they're not applicable for the job, and especially if it's a male or female and they don't want that, it's just there's going to be files everywhere, and you're also going to get a lot of artists' hopes up. You know, we're as an artist, when we read something, we want to book it. You know, we want that job.
Yeah.
And if there's, you know, 5,000 people or 1,000 people reading on something, it's very disheartening to see a room full of people. You know, I'd rather be like, oh, my agent it got me and 4 other people from our agency for this job. It's like, okay, I have a 25% chance of booking it. And that just, it helps our egos a little bit too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Should I read one more?
Yeah.
Cool.
Let's do it. This is for investigation discovery. It's called Scorned. The notes are slower, sexy, sensual, dark, and playful. So I'll give it a read. It begins with a spark that ignites a passion, which fuels an obsession. It burns with revenge. Scorned. All new series. Next Saturday at 10 on Investigation Discovery.
That was great.
Did I hit?
Yeah. I think, go for it, Kudi.
I'd be interested to hear that read a touch slower. I know obviously it's 30 seconds, but to just like really draw out the drama, and that would be amazing to hear.
Let's try it.
We've got time on this one. I think you were probably about 20 seconds, actually.
Oh boy. Okay, here we go. It begins with a spark that ignites a passion, which fuels an obsession that burns with revenge. Scorned. All new series. Next Saturday at 10 on Investigation Discovery.
Oh my, I like that.
It was very nice. Yeah.
I really liked how you kind of took it a little bit more and more sinister as you went on.
Yeah, it said sensual and dark, but still playful. So I kind of did, like, I was kind of directing you to Tumisho with that Fox read, a little bit of a like a sinister smile, like I'm still being playful, but I still, like, I know something you don't know, sort of thing, right? Like kind of in on the joke.
But there was like a danger to it.
Can you go full psychopath?
Say that again?
I'm saying, can Brent go full psychopath with it?
I think so. I think there was something very dangerous about it. Like, I could feel, literally, I could, like, there's a fire and it's going to burn. This is going to go out of control. So I wouldn't mind a little bit psychopathic on that, you know.
Let's try it. Let's
yeah.
So I imagine kind of like playing a villain character. So sometimes when I'm getting
the villain,
hey, can you play a villain, or you know, put the artist in a role?
The Shining, Jack Nicholson.
It begins with a spark that ignites a passion, which fuels an obsession that burns with revenge. Scorned, all new series, next Saturday at 10 on Investigation Discovery.
That's the one. I had chills. I was
definitely got the creeps on that.
Squeezing my fist literally tight, feeling some pain, you know?
It was very sadistic, actually. That voice was sinister and sadistic.
So another question from an anonymous attendee, and it's on emotion. They say they've always thought of themselves as someone who wears their emotions on their sleeve, but had issues expressing them in the booth. What is she doing wrong? Or any tips you could possibly, you know, how do you bring out that emotion in the booth?
Yeah, I would say just have a director that pushes you there. If you can't get there yourself, you would need someone like basically a coach or anyone to say, go further, you know, and you need someone to push you. Or, you know, it's very common for people to get behind the microphone and then freeze up. You know, it's all of a sudden you can hear yourself and you're in this environment. So I would say even if someone has to come in the booth with you, and so you have a face to talk to, just to kind of unlock yourself. And I call it that, just basically unlocking your ability to let it all out. And voiceover is very therapeutic because you can let those emotions come out. That would be my advice.
Gee, I always think that we're in the business because people think that if you are a very emotive person or you're a fun-loving or outgoing person, this is the business for you. But I don't think that's necessarily the case. I also think that we're in the business of getting paid to be that emotion at that time, no matter how else we feel. You know, I can come in feeling really down, having heard some really bad news, but if I'm supposed to do a fun, light read when I get into the booth, that's what I'm going to be. So what I'm expressing in the booth is not who I am necessarily. It's just a character that I'm playing. So that goes back to being able to just act and be something that you're not. And also remembering that you're here now, you're on stage, you may as well give it a good performance. You know, you've got nothing else to lose. Fly, do the thing, jump off the cliff. You'll either fly or you'll get caught, you know? It's a safe space.
Yeah, I think for me, it's a question of preparation beforehand. Like whenever I'm driving to a voiceover session, I'm always just doing like warm-ups in the car. But then there's also just the quick brown fox thing that you do like in the variety of emotions. You do it happy, do it sad, do it angry, just warm up beforehand and prep those emotions like in your mental database so that when the director goes, switch, I want this, you can do it a lot quicker. So for me, it's just a question of preparation and just being able to switch, as Tumisho said, between whatever emotion the director requires from you at the click of the fingers.
Yeah, excellent.
And Brent, yeah, go ahead.
No, I haven't touched on kind of the producers and the editor's perspective on this. So, you know, it's called voiceover. So remember that you are the last step in creating the show or the spot, right? So the editor has already designed this and they've probably worked for a week or 2 weeks on their baby, you know, that this is their edit, their cut. And the creative director and the producer and the vice president of marketing, you know, as everyone is depending on this voice artist to come in. So really, when you're looking at that script, please try to even just imagine what would be on the screen, because it's very important for the voice to kind of work with the images on the screen. Like if the promo copy says, "and a mysterious evil night," on the screen will be a mysterious evil knight. So make sure that your subtext and your voice is working with the picture, because it'll just make a better overall spot and connect with the audience better. I just wanted to give credit to the audio engineers and the writers and the producers that the voiceover artist is part of the team. And you're just happen to be the last step, and that's why everyone's behind the glass, watching you, because they've all worked so hard on this and they really want it to shine.
Yeah. And I mean, from still staying on kind of a director's perspective, do you have any kind of tools to really make a voiceover feel comfortable, particularly dealing with the nervous artists, let's say, as they come in? Like, how do you get them settled and comfortable before the recording process?
I always do with a little bit of a small talk and just say, hey, how you doing? And what I usually do is, hey, let's get on the microphone. We're not even going to record. Let's just try some stuff. I secretly record, but let's try some stuff. And there's no right or wrong answer. And I think once you allow the artist to not have the pressure of getting it on the first take, of just be like, look, this is a recording session. We have digital editing. We can do 20 takes if you want, but I just want you to be free from that first take. So, get in there and just read it. What I'll usually say is just read it top to bottom. Don't even give me a performance. Just read the thing. And then usually that becomes a very viable take. I mean, because they were so relaxed, they weren't trying to perform, and I just got a natural resting voice from them. So I think a producer or the editor or whatever should be very warm and not pressure them to be like, okay, ready to roll, let's do this, let's hit this thing. Not so much pressure. Just say, hey, let's get on the mic, get set up, let's try one, let's get it out of you, and then we'll start rolling with the different emotional choices.
I'll also say to any voice artist, especially any aspiring voice artist, is that part of your preparation is being the best spot reader you can be. So read everything. Read road signs. Read cereal boxes. Just read random stuff out loud, so that when you get into the studio, the last thing that's going to be a problem is your ability to read. So really what you're in there to do is emote, is to be creative and not worry too much about the text. One thing I do that I really enjoy that has helped me become a better reader of difficult words. When you get your medication, and especially when you get like pills and they've got that little piece of paper inside, and it's some difficult, like hydrochloroquine or something like that, read that type of stuff as often as you can. Because once you can read that, most of this copy is easy. And that takes away 99% of your nerves, because you're like, I can do this first take, without even having practiced. So what you're working at then is what the director and the producer needs, and even the engineer, which is your pitch, your tone, your volume, your closeness to the mic, and your emotiveness.
Great advice.
Okay.
Okay.
Looks like we're running out on time, huh?
Yeah. So a couple more questions before we wrap up. So I mean, there's a lot of, I think, aspiring voiceover artists in the audience, but I mean, I think there's from a technical perspective, do voiceover artists usually have a preference for microphones? Is there a specific brand that's best to use? What would you suggest?
Well, let's get into that. So ever since COVID hit, everything's going to be recording from home, essentially, right? Home studios now. You need to have a broadcast quality home studio. You will not even, you'll get thrown out in front of the casting if there's any sort of hiss or hum or any sort of thing that takes away from your voice in the file. So I would suggest buying equipment, investing in equipment, even if you have to kind of go in it with friends or whatever it may be, to have a minimum broadcast standard. That would be a digital interface, a computer, a digital interface. And I would say you can get away with maybe a $400 microphone or more. But this is your job. This is your career. I think you should definitely invest in your business. I like to have nice gear because I don't want to worry about my gear. I want to worry about my read and my performance. So every time I generate income, over the course of 10 years, As I generated income, I would reinvest back into my equipment. I would sell the previous equipment if it still had value and use that money to maybe step up one or two. But I would say comfortably $700 for an interface, a very nice one, and $1,000 for a microphone and a computer, and you would be extremely competitive. Having said that, you still need a quiet space to record in because none of this matters if there's a train going by, you know, so you still need a very quiet space. Anyone else's thoughts on this?
Well, I think for me, and especially being out here in South Africa, where our exchange rate can be sometimes a little bit crazy, it can be quite difficult to compete when it comes to buying something that is decent or at least competitive in terms of what a professional studio would have. I don't necessarily have favorite mics, but I always get excited when I see a Neumann, which is a German brand. That's how it looks like Neumann, but it's pronounced Neumann. I always get excited when I see a Neumann. I always think Rode mics are pretty decent mics, especially for people who are starting out, or you're not sure what kind of mic to get. They're decently priced. They give you a decent sound. Yeah, those are really my two favorites. And Sennheiser is always good, you know.
I was going to say Sennheiser is actually one of my favorite on my side. But just in terms of just reinvesting in your studio and the equipment for that, I think a lot of people starting out now won't know exactly where to start. But just to your point, Brent, I think if you can invest just starting off in a directional mic, Sennheiser is a good idea. And in some sort of soundproofing equipment, that's amazing. I do know a few people who are friends who've actually made soundproof spaces just with cupboards and foam material. It's definitely something that you can do as like a small DIY project. But I think it's a matter of just taking time out to do it. So as you said, if you can only buy the mic 1 month, that's fantastic. You can record somewhere else that's quiet in the meantime. Next month, buy the foam, make your space soundproof so that, you know, in 2-3 months time, you more or less have a fully competent and capable studio setting that you can record all of your voiceover pieces from.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you.
one more thing, there's no shame in used gear. All my equipment for the first 10 years was all used stuff that I found on the internet. It works just fine. You don't have to go buy everything brand new. Just do what you can with the resources you have. If you want it, you know, focus on the acting. You just need a good quality sound file and good acting. The rest is just details.
Yeah. I mean, from all three of your perspectives as voiceover artists, and I mean, as much as we have aspiring artists there's also a lot of promo producers and directors. What advice would you have for them in terms of, you know, what do you want to see from them coming into the studio with a script? What is the best kind of direction or kind of starting point that you like to see from a director?
Well, my answer to that is just a clear vision. I mean, they've been working on this thing for, you know, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. They've been going to the branding meetings with the VP of marketing or the senior vice president of marketing. They've been working with the writer producer. They've been working with the creative director. And so they've all had to come to some sort of conclusion about what they're looking for from the spot. So if they just take a couple minutes to say, hey, we've talked about it, we want to go this way with it, but let's explore within that zone. Because when a writer is writing something, they usually can have like this voice in their head, and they hear what they want it to sound like. That kind of helps drive the casting. So my answer to that would just be knowing what you want, or knowing at least a very small, you know, kind of ballpark area of what you're looking for.
Kudi, you wanna go first? You wanna jump in?
Yeah, I would say I completely agree with the vision piece, in as much as it's important, because I've been in situations where you walk into a session and because there isn't clear vision, and there's, for example, like a brand team and whoever's head of marketing are still actually arguing over words as you are performing. I would find those are the most uncomfortable sessions I've been in, because it's more or less rewriting as you go. And I think just a note for the people who are writing, if you can be as sure, to Brent's point, of what you want said I think it'll be an easier process for everyone, because I find those sessions the most frustrating, because it's change delivery, change words, and you're not exactly sure what you're trying to put out at the end of it.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with you guys. There's something about having a clear vision that sets a boundary of what it is that we're going to be doing that day, that gives me a lot of freedom, because I can now work within a certain boundary. But I think on top of that, once you have that set down, a real enthusiasm for what it is that we're about to do. Because I think that if the creative team doesn't like what they're doing, how can we expect the audience to really like what we're about to do? So I love it when I walk into a studio and the creative director or the copywriter has written something that they're really proud of and they enjoy. And, you know, everyone in the room enjoys this thing that they've created. And I'm now going to be invited into this fun moment of being part of this amazing creative team.
Yeah. What do you do when you're in a session and a copywriter directly, literally, like this is one of the questions from Eloise, literally feeds you word for word, even when you know it's not going to work, but you know, in the end, but they kind of, they're not giving you that room and that freedom as an artist?
If I may answer this one, because I had to learn the hard way, and I think maybe as I'm getting older, I'm just like, you know what? Barring everything I've just said, when I get there and I realize I am just a hired instrument, I'm a drum. A drum doesn't tell you how hard, how fast, or when to play it. If that's what they want, I've tried it to give it to them as creatively as I can. I will give it to you exactly word for word what you want, and walk away and separate myself from it, because, hey, you're the client. I'm just a tool.
I completely 110% agree with that. I think the situations I've allowed myself to get frustrated is when you are too involved in it. And it's hard because, you know, as a producer, director myself, it's like, but you're doing it wrong, but it's not your place to be saying that. I mean, ultimately they're the director. So to Tumisho's point, sometimes you just have to just keep quiet and deliver and move on. It's not about you and your opinion. It's about the delivery.
Yeah, and your job as a trained voice artist is to know how to read the room like this, and to know to, again, they're the paying client, and you try your best to achieve the goal. I agree with both what you both said.
And just to wrap up, just a fun question: what's the wildest direction you've ever gotten? Like where you just sat back going, "Excuse me."
One of my favorite clients is a guy by the name of, we call each other Mr. T. He calls me Mr. T, I call him Mr. T. His name is Tion. And we do a lot of these car commercials, but like it's pickup trucks, 4x4s, that sort of thing. So he'll say to me, now I want you to do it cowboy. And he says these odd things, you know, and I just immediately know where he's trying to go with that, and we have a lot of fun. So I always enjoy working with someone who's creative in that way and kind of fun. And I'm thinking, what is a cowboy version of this voice? So, yeah.
At least you got cowboy. Once I got delivered like a lion's roar, and I was like, so do you want me to roar before or after or during the delivery? But it was fun. Look, we played around with it. It was fun.
Yeah, I think the most recent, one of the recent castings was gender neutral. So I couldn't sound like a man and I couldn't sound like a woman. So I had to, it was more of like a frequency range that I had to try to hit, right? So you couldn't really tell either way. So it was kind of gender fluid. And so that was a new experience for me. So I just kind of gave it my best shot with trying to pitch up and try to find this zone where you couldn't.
Yeah. It sounds like crazy fun.
Great. Okay, this is the last question now, Brent. I'm just going to leave this to you. Well, no, actually, I'm going to let everyone answer it. What opportunities are there for African voiceover talent in the international space?
Oh, I would. Look, we're getting more and more global. As you know, as time goes on, we have the internet. We're all connected now. I think, you know, there's going to be room for voice artists, you know, everywhere, all over the globe. That's why it's so important to just, you know, build your basic home studio and just market yourself and be ready to go. I think as time goes on, producers here in the States, right now the trend is African American. So there's a lot of room for African American voices in the States right now with advertising agencies. And if they like a global brand like Nike or Coca-Cola or any of these Disney, these global brands are all going to need accents from all over the world. So just be good at your craft and the opportunity will come. That's my opinion.
Kudi?
For me, I think it's a question, once again, of versatility, right? So in as much as I completely agree with you, your opportunity will come, it's also a case of what else can you do once that chance comes? Because more likely than not, they will ask you to deliver it in a certain way. Like I think thinking back to some of the bigger campaigns, global campaigns that I've read for, they always require some sort of reinterpretation accent-wise. Whilst they like your accent, it's always some sort of reinterpretation that's required, which is why I've delved into that pathway with accents. But in addition to just the voiceovers for promos, I would encourage people to consider what else is there. So for example, there's the world of animation, there's the world of video games, there's all these different character acting positions that you can actually occupy that's not just specifically voiceover, where you have a little bit more freedom to do a little bit more of what your voice actually sounds like. So yes, I do agree with you, but I also do think that there's some versatility and adaptability that's required with your voice just in order to make sure that it's more sellable.
Yeah, I agree with all of those. And just to push what Kudi said as well, with the accents, it doesn't hurt to get an accent coach or dialogue coach and learn different accents. But there is, I think, a trend that's definitely coming. Someone who sounds sort of English neutral, I think like Kudi sounds. You have a lot of opportunity to work in any market because your accent is not specific. We can't tell if you're English, American, African, and globally, anyone can listen to it and get into it. So sometimes it's also good to have a good neutral English accent.
Yeah, I had a casting this morning that said American neutral, or no, it just said neutral English. So you're exactly right.
Yeah. I mean, thank you so much to all three of you for, being so open with your advice and sharing your experiences, and obviously your voices and your talent. I know, I mean, I started as a promo producer and nobody trains you to do this. Like you kind of land this obscure job as a producer that nobody's ever heard of, and you get thrown into a voice session and then you just kind of learn on the way. So, even after years and years and years of doing this, it's really nice to kind of sit in and kind of talk through this and share these experiences and really get to watch, artists being directed and the advice from the artist's perspective. So thank you so much for sharing that. Brent, any last thoughts and just to close up?
Yeah, the whole point of this session was what you were just talking about, is about having this dialogue from the artist to the producer. There's usually an audio engineer, an agent, there's people in between us, so we don't directly have this conversation. So I just wanted to take this space and this time to kind of have that direct communication, artist to producer. This is how we feel, this would help us, and just kind of being more open and empathetic and honest with each other. We'll get a better creative result.
Fabulous. Again, thank you so much. Thank you to all who attended. Just a reminder that it's on demand on the Promax website. So anyone who hasn't attended, please share. I think it's a hugely useful session to watch. Apologies, there's dogs. But yeah, it had to happen once. But yeah, thank you again. Have a good afternoon, everyone. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Cheers.
Thank you everyone so much.